Welcome back to Scarecrow's Billiards. You've broken a lot of racks. Some from the left, some from the right. You've probably even broken some over your knee. Well, you may have wondered, what's the best way to break? The strongest break? If you want to know, come on. Well, come on. In this video, we're going to dive deeply and analyze results from 4 types of 8-ball breaks, 3 types of 9-ball breaks, and 1 type of 1-pocket break. Don't worry, the results have already been calculated in advance. But if you have a minute, I'll take you through the factors that went into this experiment, as well as those results. This experiment included the following materials: an Olhausen 9-foot with Accu-Fast cushions, Simonis 760 felt, the MagicRack for rack consistency, a 19-ounce cue, an Aramith 5.9-ounce cue ball because their products truly do make all the difference, a Stanley tape measure, and a net PLAYZ speed radar Muti-Sports radar gun. This will acquire the speed of the cue ball for calculation of energy, which we'll do later. And now, the experiment.
So for each of the breaks, we take the average of 5 trials and examine for the speed of the cue ball. We converted miles per hour to feet per second. But it's important to note that for the sake of consistency, I only considered breaks with a cue ball speed ranging from 20 to 31 miles per hour. We examined how many inches the 9-ball moved from where it started. Additionally, we do the same thing for the 8-ball. We also look at how many balls were potted on each break. Following up, to measure explosiveness, we calculate how many rails were hit. This was done by playing each rack back in slow motion. We also take note of how many clusters or problem balls there were after each break. And finally, I tried my darndest to calculate how much energy was generated in both foot-pounds and joules, but the device, I think, originally made for measuring baseball speed, wasn't accurate. Anyhow, how much energy is that? Well, 37.88 foot-pounds equals 50 joules. So, funny fact, 50 joules translates to the thermal energy of a human fart. So, if the professional player break speed averages 26 miles per hour, which is 38.13 feet per second, that equivalates to 268 foot-pounds. Then, I'll let you do that calculation. Nah, I won't. It means that professional pool players break with the energy equivalent to a little over 7 human farts. Anyhow, moving on. From this data, not the fart data, the other spreadsheet data, there's no shortage of correlations that can be derived. But for this case, and for the quick win, I created visualizations on what was best for our careabouts. Which type of break is best for moving the 9 and the 8-ball? And which type of break is best for ball movement in general, using the number of rail hits as the indicator? And also, which type of break is best for potting balls? We all like to make balls on the break. And since everyone is so concerned about breaking fast and breaking hard, an additional visualization was created to identify any positive correlation between cue ball speed and a higher amount of balls being pocketed. Though my results using the radar device was a bit spotty, so take this with a grain of salt. Here, I'll break down the variables in the breaks. The first 5 9-ball breaks were from the center. The next 5 9-ball breaks were 1 diamond off of center. The final 5 9-ball breaks had the cue ball position over toward the side rail. For the 8-ball breaks hitting the head ball first, the first 5 breaks were from the center. The next 5 8-ball breaks hitting the head ball first were 1 diamond off of center. The last 5 8-ball breaks hitting the head ball first were over toward the side rail. For the 5 8-ball breaks hitting the second ball, the cue ball was positioned over by the side rail. For 9-ball, the most ball movement of the pack goes to the head-on break, with an average of 13 rails hit. But important to note, it was much harder to control the cue ball. Movement of the 9 goes to the 1 diamond off center break, with an average movement of 7.6 inches. Most potted balls goes to the 1 diamond off center break, with an average potted balls of 1.4. Important to note though, that these were by far the fastest breaks, which means for 9-ball, the average balls pocketed was proportional to cue ball speed. The big takeaway from the 9-ball break, speed matters. For 8-ball, the most ball movement goes to the 2nd ball break from the side, with an average of 18.2 rails hit. Movement of the 8 goes to the 2nd ball break from the side, with a whopping 42.8 inches, including 1 8-ball break. The most potted balls goes to, you guessed it, the 2nd ball break from the side, with an average of 1.2 balls pocketed per break. However, there was no positive correlation found between balls being pocketed and the speed of the cue ball. Now, that doesn't mean there isn't a sweet spot somewhere for your table. It's just that these trials didn't capture what that was. For 1 pocket, using the rail first break, the average balls sold out per rack was half a ball, with maybe 1 ball sold on 1 rack and definitely 2 balls sold on another. As a professional, with the balls spread out like that, if you sell out even a single ball, that usually means you lost the game. However, 3 of the racks were almost flawless. In conclusion, for the 1 pocket rail first break, it's difficult to get control of the cue ball. But if you watch the footage later, you'll see how the payoff can be phenomenal. Would I do it in a tournament? Nope. All right, everyone. That does it for the results. Next, we'll move on to the new 9-ball break rules. You may have seen on Matchroom and international tournaments, or simply been hearing about it in the pool hall. Do they apply to your situation? More than likely not. But if you notice that something seems off when seeing this happen live or otherwise, this is why. The first rule, the 9-ball rather than the 1-ball is now located on the spot. This minimizes the chance of the 9 going in on the break. Second, when breaking, the player must place the cue ball within the rectangular box labeled break box. Finally, there is a 3-point rule. This rule requires that to have a legal break, at least 3 balls must pass a head string or enter a pocket, or a combination thereof. So, if 1 ball passes a head string and you pocket 2 balls, then you're legal. If a player fails to make a legal break, the opponent can either accept the table as it is or request a re-rack and break themselves. Ultimately, the rule is either in effect or not, and is at the discretion of the referee. This rule was implemented to deter players from breaking softly, which can pocket wing balls in the corner and the 1 ball on the side, thus making the game more exciting to the viewer. As a side note, additionally the balls, with the exception of the 1 ball and the 9-ball, the balls must be substantially rearranged with each new rack. This is to prevent the chance of planned layouts and designated ball potting on the break.
Hey, that's a wrap. If you're interested, after this, you can watch the raw data for the 1 pocket rail first breaks. And for all you nerd types like me, after that, I'll have a running scroll of the screenshots of the calculations so you can look through those a few times if you want. Thanks for watching Scarecrow's Billiards, and I hope at least one of the results gave you a moment of pause, whether it's moving object balls or the money ball itself. I hope now you have the knowledge you need to practice getting the type of results that you want. Maybe now I'll publish in Scientific American. Nah. They want to edit out the human fart thermal energy conversion. Anyhow, it's been fun, but I gotta roll. Be safe, and God bless. Scarecrow out. Ugh. All that breaking's making me want to break some wind myself. Oh, hey, you're still here. You heard that, huh? The video's over. You can't get enough? Well, you can check out another video here. So I'm gonna go. Check out that video.